Okay, we're trying this again. Let's see if this actually works. Okay, hopefully all of you can come back in. I have tried this new one. I'm going to see what we can do. Let's see if you guys can get in. Yep, this one's showing up proper. Okay, now you see me. Yes! Fan-frickin-tastic. Oh, how weird. It shows I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 of you in here, but it doesn't show up at the top. Oh, that's bizarre. Okay, well, welcome back. And Izzy-Beth, thank you. Oh, there you are. See, now it's catching up. Oh, wow. What the hell is going on with my internet? Okay, well, maybe that was a good sign that, okay. Hello! And you can actually hear me now. Literally. Anyway, so you guys were making comments and I was talking. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, so I had 7 hours of sleep. Nice to see you too. Audio and video. Thank you, Philip. Really appreciate that. Seriously, I really appreciate that. And so yesterday I didn't get to bed till noon and I got up at 7:30 p.m. tonight. So I've had my sleep. But if it comes down to it, I'm taking my B12, man. So that's what you guys were talking about. I was like, oh my God, nobody heard that. Anyway, so welcome and thank you, Izzy, for subscribing. I appreciate it. Audio nominal or normal? Anyway, welcome back. You're all in. That's good. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? I know, I think it was Izzy that was talking about certain difficulties. And Derek, oh my God, the food that you were eating. Oh, jeez. That sounded really good. I've been doing all high protein stuff and sipping wine. I was wondering about that. I knew somebody was drinking wine, but I wasn't sure who. And then it told me, just kidding. It was you. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Eating it now with my Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I read that and I was like, oh my God, that's hardcore Sugar City, man. I got me, my tea, and anyway. So you kind of getting me as a late day. There we go. I did find my mini painting I did about, that's what one of my, actually, that's what many of my ET hybrids look like. They have the round human head, or the oval head like us humans, but they're blue. And I couldn't get the color to differentiate, but anyway, between the head and the rest of the body. So that's what I did for it. And I'm not going to do a face on it because I can't paint a face. I can't get the 3D dimensions right. And if I had an artist, the baby, one of the babies that I had in my arms, one of the questions, Derek and Para yesterday really kept the conversation going, which I appreciate. Hey, Sovereign. Good to see you in here. Good to see everybody in here. Thank you for coming. I very much appreciate it. I'm doing this for you guys. This is all for you guys. If I have the energy, I will continue to do it. It all comes down to what is going on with. I had a great deal of pain last night with my Nerves misfiring. I haven't had any of that today. I have had tailbone issues, but I haven't had any of the nerve endings. So hopefully nobody will have to hear me ooh, ah, and ouch and eek. So my chiropractor tells me, you know, you make really good sounds. It'd be great for a haunted house. He wants me to record for him, for he and his staff for they have a haunted house that they have displayed during Halloween, and I really do need to do that. Hey, Susie B. Lurking kills, guys. Yeah, that's fine. Lurk away. Um, the chat is open up for you guys. We're finding a lot of the SORians, SOVians, SORVians are finding that we really want to talk after the show. And so, oh, I know you have questions, Para. Ask away, sweetheart. I've told you yesterday. You can ask, literally, you can ask me anything. If I don't have an answer for you, I'll tell you straight out if I don't. And if I don't know it, I'll tell you that too. If I do know it, I'll tell you that. And if I can answer it, I will. I mean, or if there are certain factors of it. Oh, how interesting, Sovereign. I'm not commenting on that right now. But like I said, I'll answer. I'll answer whatever I can. But anyway, we're finding that there are a number of us that really want to talk after some of the different shows, and if I can do it during the week, it's a little easier. Today was supposed to be a work day for me, and not pay money work, but I'm supposed to be working on the storage unit I've got downsizing, and the last couple of weeks I was like, no, my body needs. And then last night with the 4.5 hour or 4 hour 16 minute live broadcast I did, kind of took it out of me because I type up, because there was so much information that I was being asked and so much being answered that in those kind of situations, what I'll do in the description box below is I'll make sure that you can see everything. You were telling us about your involvement in crime cases. Did you find the police were open to working with you? Oh, fuck no. No. Matter of fact, I've known 2 retired police detectives. One is now deceased, unfortunately. She was really sweet too. And she told me flat out in 2019 that they're not going to listen. She said you're gonna have to take the information to them typed up, hand it to them in a manila envelope, and talk to the different detectives, and they most likely won't even use it. They most likely won't even bother. I mean, that's straight from, and she was a known individual. The other lady is a retired, and both of them worked for Seattle PD, retired police detective, and I still know her. She's still living, and she does a lot of phenomenal work for the homeless. Love her to pieces. I mean, the amount of stuff that she does is just incredible. It makes me tear up what she does. I mean, she gives up so much to help others, and that's a big deal. But she told me the same thing. I know how the 3-letter agency that starts with an F, ends with an I, deals, because I talked to them about a situation, not about somebody deceased, but about and I got told the same damn thing. So it basically boils down to, and here's the thing that I have been told consistently. I've been told this by attorneys. I've been told this by PD. I've been told this by military, active duty, and retired, who all had different level clearances, and some of them pretty high clearances. And everybody has said, you have to know somebody in order to get the information really seen and taken seriously. You have to know somebody. And I'm like, and this is my response to that aspect, because that's not okay. There are many people that have, and this is the second time I've shown the double bird. I don't usually do them. I'll usually say something, but for me to actually do the fingers straight up was kind of a big deal for me. And to do it 2 days in a row is even bigger of a deal. But they don't, I keep getting told they're not going to listen unless you have an in with somebody that is active, that knows you, that will pay attention. They're not going to look into it. And I've been told by somebody who is working with active officers that, yeah, it's the same thing. And even if you do something anonymous, it literally, they'll look into what you have, and if it doesn't apply, if they don't believe it applies, it literally goes off their desk and into the trash can next to them. And actually, that's what 2 of the retired Seattle PD told me. Officers, detectives. They were both detectives. Oh, honey. No, it's just it's certain things that it's just very annoying. It's very frustrating because the psychics are not taken seriously in almost any official capacity, even in the sciences, unless it is black ops, government psyops that have programs going. Okay. Good for her. Okay, I only read part of that. Hang on a second. Let me go back into it. So that was Derek. Okay. Chris, is this too much for you tonight? Do you need to take care? Don't feel pressured to open this up. You're so nice. Oh, sweet. Thank you. I heartfelt. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. No, actually, I'm okay. I wasn't okay when I first got up. It took almost until, well, I got up at 7:30, 7:38 to be precise. It took an hour, almost an hour and a half before I was okay. I had a headache. I wasn't okay. It just, the energy was off within me. And things started to get back on track. So I'm feeling a lot better. I'm tired, but I'm not drained. There's a big difference. Yesterday, I basically pulled almost a 24-hour shift. But with the amount of information that you folks are asking, which is good questions, you guys have got some really great questions. I mean, we hit a gigantic, and I'm going to say it, plethora of answers. And that is why I stayed up to type in, to go back in and listen to what I talked about, what you had asked, what questions I had answered, and I posted that in the description box below. And that's a really big deal, folks. So you can go back in and see if you want to pay attention. Now, I missed like the last, I don't know, 40 minutes of it because I was like, no, I can't do the last 40 minutes. I'm just too out of it. So I did a synopsis. I think it was a one-liner and just let the rest of it go and just posted it. So I may go back through tonight and fix that. Excuse me, but when you ask a lot of questions, that's what I feel needs to get done. And personally, I really dislike it when shows don't do that kind of stuff, because there are certain aspects that you really want to hear in a show. And I know it takes time, energy, and effort, and a lot of people don't have that kind of time. I don't really have it either, but I feel it's really necessary and really important, which is why I do it. That, and I used to work with a lot of different attorneys, and I used to work with, so I'm used to certain things. And I used to have to type up a lot of notes for, I can't remember what it's called. What is it when you listen on headset and you type up everywhere? I can't remember what that's called right now. But anyway, I used to do that kind of stuff. As an advocate, I used to do that kind of thing. Okay, so scrolling back down, did I get all the... Okay, so I want to go scroll back down. I haven't scrolled back down yet, guys, so I'm doing that now. Tim, effing goats, horny. That's funny. Tim, that's right. Nikki, Sovereign, yeah. Derek. Yeah, I got some things to say about certain ones of those. Okay, double birding. Guess bring out the best. Yeah, we responded to that already. Para, that seems weird. If someone like you comes forward with info on a cold case, it seems like they might take a chance on your info. They look at you as especially if you get information right, they will look at you as a perp, as a suspect. And I mean, I get where they're coming from. I had my information. I mean, they wanted my social security number. They wanted everything about me to look me up. See if I was crazy or not. That was the other side of it. And there's sometimes I don't give a shit about that, but yet at the same time, I do. But to be so disrespectful, the one detective, he was really nice. It was obvious that he cared about the situation and that he really wanted the information. And I'm like, I'm not a suspect. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm just somebody who sees a situation and I get what I call psychic hits and psychic visions, or whatever you yourself want to call them. That's fine. And they've been right. I mean, the stuff that I used to get, I mean, they were constantly right. It was frightening to me, actually. Okay, so anyway, oh, cool. She retired Air Force jet mechanic and worked 33 years, high-ranking government. Nice. Sovereign, yes, Sasquatch right inside of UFOs. Not to my knowledge, they don't. That's very Para. That's very considerate of you. Oh, yeah. Dictation. Thank you, Para. Appreciate that. Transcribe. Yes, it's a form of dictation and transcription. That transcription was the word I was looking for. Yeah. Well, like a court reporter, but not. Yeah, but I did a lot. I did a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, I was never paid. Tim has goats. Working on project together. Oh yeah, Susie. Susie says, I didn't know you were psychic. Nikki, how awesome. Okay, sweetie, I am. Go back and listen to yesterday's information. Go back in, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And go back in and listen. There are many different. I'm a psychic medium. Came out of the psychic closet in 2017. That's when I said, dip, 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 screw it, F it. I'm tired of all the BS and stuff. So it was a really big deal for me to come out of the psychic closet after so many years. Izzy, let me ask the other side. There's something about it. I keep getting yes. There's something about it. And I'm literally being told fight, 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 fight. Wow. That's unusual. They've never done that with me. Not like that. It's usually one or two words, but not numerous, like 4 or 5 of the same word in a row. I've never received that before. God, I hope that's not the case. It pisses me off when people, government comes in and pulls that bullshit. Like I get really, really angry. Really angry. That is so not okay. Used to know folks in Oregon who lived, their property butted up against railroad tracks. I could tell you stories about that, but I'm not going to because it's theirs. But it's their information. But yeah, not okay. Do whatever you have to. Seriously. Um, Hit me up privately. Um, I'll see if I can delve in. Hit me up privately, either on Facebook or Facebook Messenger, or on my email. My email address is literally in the description box below this live broadcast. So maybe maybe I can find out if there's something that it's not normally seen. Sometimes that kind of stuff comes up, and if it does, more power to you. Things that are hidden, let's just put it that way. Things they don't want you to know about. I've done that with people, and it's proven with proven results. So we'll find out more. But hit me up privately. I can't guarantee that I'm going to remember that I have said that until you actually message me. So whether it's via my email, and I got my door open like I did last night, but I didn't say my email very loud, and I'm talking a little on the louder side than I was last night, I think. But it's in the description box below. Oh, I can't. Here. Ah. Okay, so that's my email. I check it twice a week. Well, yeah, you're welcome. I can't promise anything. There are so many. Listen, when it comes to psychic information, and this is something that a lot of people do not frickin' talk about, and it needs to be talked about. A lot of psychics receive information. It's based on current information. However, what they don't talk about is that time changes. Activities, I'm not saying this right. Things change in life for our future. Little things can twist and turn, and it can take other avenues. So, like, for example, I'm going to give this a couple of different examples. I had a psychic vision of a young girl that I consider a grandchild. And she's not biologically mine, but I do consider her grandchild. And in this vision I was watching her. It was like a unexpected couple of hours. Hey, Sandra. It's good to see you here. It was an unexpected. I turned around. I was watching her for the afternoon for her mom, and I turned around to say something to her, and the next thing I received was a psychic vision of her as a teenager, and she was walking through. She was saying goodbye to me in the vision and walking through the screen door. Opening up the door and walking through it. And I'm no longer in that house, but somewhere, and I'm not in communication with, it's been a number of years, I'm not in communication with that family anymore, but I still consider the kids like a grandchild to me. And I know that aspects of that life, I will eventually see her again. So things change in the future. That's my point. Things can shift and change. So yeah, I've been real good about staying in contact with a lot of folks. So, and there's reasons for that. But anyway, and it's a lot to do with my health. But my point is that you have a situation like that. You have a situation like where my son and his fiance were sitting on my couch one day, and we're all having just a family. Yeah, future's not set. I mean, you have alternatives. Para just said, so you mean the future, you mean that the future is not set? No, it's not. It is to some degree. You've got aspects of it, but because things can take a different road, you've got numerous different roads to that future. So here you've got this one set. Okay. Here you've got, we're going to use this bottle of my community 17 species blend mushrooms. Okay. We're going to use this as the distant future. Okay. And here we've got this bottle of B12. All right. And say this is our present, right? And this is our future. You've got anywhere from 2, if not 5 or 6 different pathways that could lead to this. However, if you deviate from going straight forward, or if you deviate in different sections, you may not get there. It may give you a different pathway. Or if you deviate in a different way, it may eventually lead you over. Does that make sense? So there are aspects, it's part of opportunities. And a lot of psychics don't freaking talk about this. So it depends on what pathway you take. If that makes, makes sense. Good. So when I say yes to somebody about the house, there are so many different aspects to that, such as, for example, an example from somebody else's life. There was something I found out psychically that was hidden. that wasn't known about. And I let the person know, and it opened a ton of doors. It opened everything up to where they won. So my point is, and it pissed a lot of people off that they won, but they did. And it's like, yeah, they deserve to win. But that one item wasn't known. So, and I'm not in communication with them either. That's fine. Things went south on that relationship. But that's an example. That's a real good example, actually. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll back. Sovereign, I see your question. I will get to it in just a moment. I want to make sure that I'm catching up with everything. Let's see. Yeah, caught alive. Sandra. That's awesome. Okay, a little. Grow like sound. Okay, so. Oh, Brown Dwarf is camping. Possibly. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, you talk about hair. My hair was down to my butt, and thick. And right around the age of 42, everything started thinning big time. It's a pain in the freaking ass. But anyway, yeah, it started thinning a lot. You're still eating cookie dough ice cream and monkey bread. Bloated belly. Well, yeah. And you're drinking Dr. Pepper with it. The Dr. Pepper will add the fuzz. Not fuzz, but the yeah, that's where you're getting the bloat from. So, okay. I totally get a lot of this stuff that turns out to be woo facts that you share. I think a lot goes over most heads, but I get it. Good. I'm glad you get it. Yeah, I've got a cowlick too. I got 3 of them. Damn near drive me up a freaking wall. Not as bad as some folks I know, but it's still this one right here, just the one that drives me the wall the most. But anyway, yeah, mine's not quite that bad, Chris, but yeah, I totally freaking get it. Okay, so Amy, Nikki, what if the visions are super detailed and happen exactly like that years in advance? I may be an oddball. No, you're not an oddball. Everybody is different. It may mean that you're you're specifically meant to see an exact specific way, and that things may, here in the present, may get seriously effed up and split and diverge, but then different paths open up and opportunities open up and lead right back into what eventually is supposed to take place. So I know people that get that kind of stuff too. Okay. Whoa. Uh, Sovereign at Amy, like deja vu. Amy, deja vu like, okay, but years in advance. Okay, para. Nikki, I'm sure a number of the cases involved kids. Have you ever gotten any info from guides about missing kids being in underground cities or off-world? No, not underground cities or off-world. I don't know how public I want to make this, Para. That's a really excellent question, but it's not about underground cities or off-world. It's about humans above ground on Earth. I don't know how public I want to go with that because of things I say as a psychic medium could potentially lead to legal issues. There have been things that I have seen, things that I have talked about, but I've been so outrageously frustrated and angry about how government deals with things that even if I say something, it's going to get ignored. And in some of those situations, I've actually made public statements on my Facebook page because I know I'm being watched by government. That to me is a fact. I mean, I literally, if you go back and you listen to the show from last, ouch, 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 go back and listen to the show from last night, you will hear about that kind of stuff. Where I had a government asshat in astral here, male, 60s to 70s, 60s to early 70s years old, and he brought a female with him, and it was because of her that I found out that I don't have a contract, I have a file with the government. Starts with a C, ends with an A. And so a little bit more careful today than I was yesterday. So, and I knew, I mean, that was just, for me, that was confirmation. And I had another psychic friend who actually, one of the times, the second time that that woman showed up with the guy, the apprentice showed up with the guy. The second time I had a friend on the phone, a video call, and he saw it. It was a psychic friend, and he was like, "Oh my God, did you hear what she said?" I'm like, "Yeah, I heard it." So I have confirmation from my psychic friend as well that, this, sorry, my fingers are driving me, I need to pop my certain fingers. So there's that aspect of it. So I will make certain public posts, but I word things very carefully, usually, when it comes to that kind of situation. And I do know I'm being watched, so I mean, it's we're all getting watched, but certain ones of us are watched a little bit more than others, shall we say. Sovereign at Parrot, did you see Michael Salas's recent video on off-world human trafficking? Oh, I'm gonna have to look at that. Derek, Desiree is a dirty blonde. Derek, I'll get Desiree. Chris at Nikki. Okay, yep, age 40s, start getting thinning hair and all the other good stuff, eyesight, etc. Speaking of eyesight, oh, I don't have it out. I don't have the bottle out. There's a bottle that I used, made a major difference. Matter of fact, tomorrow, well, technically today, depending upon how I'm feeling, I will post a video with all the different vitamin supplements that I highly recommend. One of them is, I think it's called Sight Power. And it's made a major difference with my eyes, like hardcore. I highly, highly recommend it. And I've been asked to do been asked to be interviewed for a radio show, terrestrial radio show, because of my experience with that one specific vitamin supplement. So I don't know when that's going to take place, but it'll eventually take place. Let's see. Okay, only example of this detail, the layout of stuff. Okay, only an example of this detail, the layout of stuff on the mantle, what Nikki is wearing, and exact wording. But say if I saw it in 2019, yeah, I was supposed to be doing stuff in 2019. Trust me. I'm doing it, but I'm doing it now, and I started it in 2022, which is why the email is the way it is, because it has the date in it, the year. I was supposed to do this back in 2019. The higher ups, the hierarchies, my spirit guides, even the ETs were getting after me, and I was under way too much stress. I just couldn't deal with it. I couldn't do it. And they were like, "You've got to," and I'm like, there's only so much I can handle, folks. So, yeah. So I do understand that. I see things as if through my own eyes and exact, and not all of it, like 10 to 15-second movie clips. Okay. Yeah, been there, Amy. We are on air, and guess who calls himself the king of air? Well, that's interesting, Sovereign. Para, understood. We don't want to get you into trouble, Ernie. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Derek, they do have underground cities. My mom worked at a location underneath NAS Jacksonville Naval Base. It extends out on the coast like of St. John's River. Yeah, trust me, I know that. I mean, I don't know that one, but I know about that subject. Wish I could stay up, but work tomorrow. Thanks, you guys. Nikki, I will email you, and I'm grateful. Night, good people. Take very good care, Izzy. Izzy Beth. Look forward to hearing from you. Cue music, Govt Asshat. Yeah. I think you're quite a ways down. Okay, no. Yeah, okay. Para, 70-year-old agent, bet you could take him. Yeah, I did, actually. He was not a happy camper. Didn't come after me the last time. So, and he got his ass into trouble because he wasn't even supposed to be doing what he did. They told him and others like him in a specific part of the program to leave me be. And he didn't. He did what he did on his own accord, and he pulled somebody else into it, and it got his ass into some very, very hot water. Hey, lovey love. Oh, yeah. 2 4-year-olds. Yeah, I've got someone in my life who has twins. I understand this. Sativa. Ah, you have some stress in your life and you're taking some sativa to relax, my dear. um, oh dear. Play nice, kiddos. Yeah. Okay. It's not for okay, Para. It's okay. I think Amy was explaining that she had a flash of deja vu. It's not deja vu. It's actual psychic visions that she receives. Um, oh, I haven't read any of that out loud, Sovereign, and I won't unless it starts making me laugh a lot. Um, yes, okay, Christine has asked, Nikki, have you ever seen a UFO? I'm new to your channel. Yes, dear, I have. Um, Talked about it last night. I don't remember if you were in here or not at the time that I talked about it, but yeah, last night. So and I said if you're familiar with NFL football, um, it was 3 NFL football fields wide by 3 NFL football fields long, and so rectangular, and not super big. It was like a flat disc, but not quite a disc, if that makes any sense. Um, Para, well, it's my understanding that technically this isn't supposed to be doing anything with. Yeah, I'm not touching that one, Para. Dealing with 2 different agencies. I'm not going to do that one live. You want to have a conversation about it? That's privately. That's totally fine. Um, okay, Sovereign, have you heard before that the Pacific Northwest is the home of the Illuminati, supposedly? No, that I have not heard. Uh, there are, sorry, I was literally seeing Europe. There are specific sections in Europe that I've heard. Uh, premonition. Yeah, it's a form of a premonition, psychic visions. Derek, to get a bunch of people together and go camping for the weekend, have a skywatch party. Yeah, I used to do that. Did a lot of that in 2018 and 2019. It was a lot of fun. Um, you know, Christine, go into the description box from last night, and you will find where it's talked about, because I list a time frame and I list what the subject is. So look at the subject matter and scroll down and look through the subject matter, and it should be in there. It might be in a mix or a jumble of things that were talked about briefly, like less than a minute, and then um, but it's in with a mix of stuff. So you might have 20 minutes of stuff that were talked about, but the main subjects were mentioned. Susie, Nikki was just at the. Okay, Nikki was just at the coast, Morro Bay, and sitting in front of Morro Rock and seen a huge orange ball peek out from behind it and return as fast as it appeared. What do you feel it was? Oh, what do I feel it was? Okay, hang on a minute. 1 second. Okay, Morro. Whoa. it was as fast. Not getting anything psychically on it. It's real possible that you saw an ET orb, but if it's a ball, it's definitely going to be ET. I mean, if it's above water, it's going to be ET. If it's over land, now there are some folks that I know in the ufology industry who would probably differ with me, and some psychics that would probably differ with me. However, my experience is that if it's over land, it can be anything. It could be ET, it could be Sasquatch, it could be fairy, it could be so many different forms of beings. If it's over water, it's usually ET. 9 times out, in my opinion, as an abductee and what I've seen things, it's going to be ET abductee, or not ET abductee, it's going to be ET. Some form of ET ship. Matter of fact, if it's in an orb, that would lead me to question if it's not, if it's an ET ship that a human child might be trying to fly. How's that one for some apples? Okay, hang on a minute, Sovereign. Para, you mentioned that you've been abducted, but are you aware of being taken off world? Yes, Paramarv. Yes. I know I've been, because that's what this picture is all about. Being 2-3 years old and being on a ship, and we were taken, there were a number of us that were taken into our galaxy, basically. That is the Butterfly Nebula. Very bad painting of it, but it was my, I still can't get it right. Anyway, and I stopped trying, so eventually, maybe I'll eventually get it fixed. Amy, I would love it if you did a drawing or painting of the multi-football field size craft. Ho! Yeah, that's going to take a while. That's going to have to be on one of these big ones because of the way it was done, or because of the way I saw it. I was standing, okay, so here's a, when I saw it, I was standing about 6 feet from the road, from a cement road. I was on somebody's property, and it's their front road that everybody drives up and down, but it's a quiet road. And we were all watching the sky, and you have a great big open area where you could see Mount Baker, and then you had off to this area of me, off to my left was trees going all the way down the road, the other side of the road, opposite side of the road. Houses were over here, but you had trees over here before you'd have driveways. And then you'd have trees, and then another driveway, and then more trees. And so basically, when I looked up and looked back down and looked back up, I had a row of trees, and then you'd have this thing, and it was, what was up there? Well, it wasn't that far up there. I mean, it was like hovering above the trees. So yeah, I will. I've been thinking about that, Amy. Eventually, I will do that. If I'm still, I can't say what I want to say on here. It'll happen in the next 2 years. Let's put it that way. That painting. Okay, thank you. I'll check it out. Sovereign. Here's a topic. Whoops. What? I need to stupid. Where'd you go? There. Here's a topic you can maybe elaborate on. Galactics monitoring YouTube. Oh, honey. Wow, that's a subject. So I already know that there are ETs that look like human walking around on Earth. I already know that. And it really got slammed into me regarding the hearing, because there was, I know for sure there was one. Boy, it hit me hard. I mean, really. It wasn't until I was going through certain section of the recording, because while it was going live, I was pausing to type up my notes, and so I was ended up being quite a distance behind. And by the time I got to a certain point in the live broadcast, but for me it was because I was pausing. It was like a recording to me. I was in a certain section and I got hit with psychically there's an ET in that room in the hearing. I don't know who it is. I didn't recognize anybody. That had nothing to do with it. It was, I'm sitting there, I'm literally typing notes on my computer, and I look up and I had something else on my TV. I had something on my computer, but I had something else up on my TV screen. I look up at the TV and I get a psychic hit. I mean, it didn't just hit my head, it hit my whole body. And I started yelling. I mean, I was like, oh my God, there's an ET in the hearing. Oh my, I mean, I lost my shit. Okay. I was just like, wow, who is it though? And I never saw a face. I was never given a face. I just had this like, I mean, it just hit. And I was like, that to me means there really was one. Because I don't get, I mean, they don't hit me with stuff like that. Not like that, unless it's something really big. Well, it's the first time I'm saying it. I don't know who it is. I don't want to know who it is. Government probably will. I don't give a crap. I don't want to know who it is. I don't want to even advance that any further. But yeah, so regarding the galactics monitoring YouTube, it's not just in my opinion. It would not surprise me. I don't have any information on it, but it would not honestly surprise me. I'm looking over it. When I'm looking over here, I'm looking over at the chat. It would not honestly surprise me if there was that going on. And it would not surprise me. Well, we already know the government does. Hardcore. So, yeah, there's that going on. Susie, yes, it appeared quickly, peeking from behind the rock and returned really quick, like playing peekaboo. Yeah, if it's that fast, you're dealing with an ET ship. As far as I know, and as far as I've been told, there is no human-made ships that can do that. Not that fast. Yeah, it was over water. Okay. Ufology, laugh out loud, ufology industry. Well, it is an industry. Um, Sovereign. It used to be talked about in the past about aliens leaving rocks with people. What more could you possibly know about rocks and aliens, cryptids? Um, Not a lot. I just know that that used to take place. Aliens and cryptids, both of them. Usually more the Sasquatch than anybody else, any other being. Um, so um, it's a form of communication that I know. It's a specific form of communication, and that's where I'm going to leave it because I don't know quite how to go. That gets into a lengthy discussion that I just, no, I'm not doing that tonight. Maybe some other time, Sovereign, where we can really have a deep conversation about it. Um, Whoops. Okay, kid, bless it. Okay, it went all the way to the bottom, and that's not where I want to be. Para, I'm guessing that Amy doesn't mean for that painting to be that actual size. No, I know she doesn't, sweetie. But that's how I have to do it because I can't seem to. There's a. It's like with this one. I know that this one could have been done on a canvas this big, or even on the book size. I know that. I could not. I couldn't do it. Okay, why is this even still up? And that, why is this up? Hang on a second, guys. I got something weird going on here. Da bum bum. Channel. Okay. Holy wow. I've gotten through quite a few subscribe. Thank you everybody for subscribing. Oh my god. Um okay. I'm gonna go back up. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. What Amy had said, it wouldn't surprise me at all. That is possible about orange orbs being Sasquatch, but as far as I know, they don't travel over the water. I could be very wrong on that, but as far as I understand it, they don't do that. They don't travel over water, it's over land. And typically, the Sasquatch, okay, I can't say typically, that's the wrong statement. From what I know and what I understand, when Sasquatch does orbs, um, it's a form of fast travel. Why they're doing it that way, I don't quite understand because, as I know it, they can literally create a portal, open it, walk through it to the exact location they want to be, open the other end of it, and they're there. So, why they do the orbs, I don't understand why they do that and have the ability to do that. Oh yes, reports of them swimming across Sovereign, reports of them swimming across oceans to get to island for rare food. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story about that. It's a brief story. Driving back from, coming back from Oregon coast. Um, I wasn't in Oregon at the time. I was in Washington. There is a specific location, and I'm not going to say the location publicly, but there is a specific location with a small island. And as um, we were traveling up this road, I got a hardcore, it wasn't a psychic hit, but I got a hardcore telepathic message. Nikki, you're here. We love you. Thank you for coming. And I'm like, I'm not stopping, but I can. Excuse me. And I knew it was Sasquatch. I could feel, because the energy of Sasquatch is very specific, but each one of them has a different energy to them. And I basically got told that they live on the island and they swim to and from the mainland. And they would rather live on that island than live near the humans. And I get that. I understand that. And it's easier for them to access fish. They I was being told that they fish at night in a very, very specific way, in a very specific location, and I will never frickin' reveal any of that because that's their no way in hell. It's not happening. You're not going to get me to tell you where it's at. So hello to whoever came in. So welcome. So there's an answer to that one, and I can't remember who just asked me that or said that. Okay, so let me scroll back up. Oh, I missed Chris. Okay, hang on a second, Chris. That's interesting. Kara knows this to be true. Person ET in the audit. I wonder if it was a person ET. They looked human. What I was told and what I felt, psychically felt, was that what the person looked completely human. Eyes, body, the whole kit and caboodle, whole 9 yards. But they are literally ET and really well protected with their energy. No one would ever suspect, ever. Some kind of, wow, it blew me, boggled my mind, blew me out of water. Okay, so Christine, Nikki, I've watched Elena Dannon. I don't know what to think of her. She says her good guys have beat the bad guys, Greys, and flushed them out and we're okay, safe. Okay, I'm rolling my eyes. I'm trying not to be that way. Okay, so there's sections of the Greys that are good. There's sections of the Greys that are not so good. Depends on which one she's talking about. There are many different types of Greys. I'm trying to figure out if I call them species or races. They're all one race, but you've got different subsections of species. It's how I've always looked at it, but I don't know if that's technically right. So depends on who she's talking about. Flushed them out and we're okay. We're safe. Kind of don't buy that. If there's and I don't mean we're okay, we're safe. That's it. I think it's the way it's worded. But with what I know, even the Greys, if you lump all of them together in one lump sum, it's like lumping all the humans together. something I really try not to do, because there are good and bad humans, just like there are good and bad ETs. And that's why I get really frustrated with folks when they start fear mongering. They're all this way, they're all that way, or they're all demons. Oh, bullshit. Call bullshit big frickin' time. I have been ET abductee since early childhood. I've had good and bad experiences, and I've had indifferent experiences. Being an abductee is a process in your life. There are many different stages you go through psychologically with it. Many. And including the fear mongering category, and the anger and the rage with it. And then you get to a point after a great deal of time and learning and understanding and seeking out knowledge and information. It's a process. So it really frustrates me no end when people are in the intense fear mongering stage. And it's not directed at you, Chris. This is just one of my pet peeves. However, regarding this lady who is saying that the bad guys, the good guys have beat the bad guys, how far out are we talking? How many galaxies away are we talking about? Because it's not around Earth. I know that. I do know that. I will stand firm on that one. Boy, there's a bunch of things going through my head right now, which is why I got silent. I mean, we've got ETs, we've got grays, we've got hybrids, we've got even Laborian, we've got even some reptilian who are, and some reptilian who are hybrid reptilian. And they are on different planets around Earth. Some are good, some are not so good, some are outright bad. I mean, which specific group of grays is she talking about? She's talking about the little ones who some people are claiming are all of them are electronic. They're not all electronic. I know that for a fact. Can I prove it? No. It makes things very difficult, which is very angering and frustrating. But anyway, I'm off on a tangent. So that was a really good question. I really appreciate questions like that. Really appreciate questions like that, because it really gets information out there and you got me going. So that's a good thing. And I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm just trying to get the information out, so to speak. Amy, the very idea that there are human-looking ETs walking around here scares the living daylights out of some of the intel and military folks. That's an understatement. Man, they do not like that. There's a statement I want to make. It keeps popping into my head, and my friend on the other side, my military friend with the clearance on the other side, has been pushing this ever since yesterday. And I talked about him, and I talked about a number of things, and he's been kind of pushing it today. Sorry, I get something underneath my nails driving me nuts. So I got to get a nail thingy. Here, get stuff under my nails. So he's pushing me to talk about the fact that he knew about the book. He doesn't really want me talking about the fact that he knew about the book, but he knew about the book. I told him about the book. And if you don't know, go back and watch. It'll say government asshats and the book. Watch that section. I'm not going back into that tonight. And He told me flat out, Nikki, that will get you dead. Quote unquote, Nikki, that will get you dead. Don't talk about the book. Well, he really didn't want anybody knowing that he knew, but he's dead now. And his clearance doesn't mean shit now because he's dead. And he's the one, because I told him about, he actually, I remember he directly cut me off. We were talking about it. And he goes, Nikki, you got to stop. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Stop what? And I'm like, what did I do wrong? He goes, you need to stop telling me about this book. And I went, why? And he goes, I can't know anymore. And of course, it's because it was of his clearance. And so it was because of after that, he started teaching me how to protect my mind. He knew what the government could do. He knew about certain programs. He knew about, I was going to say certain people, but I know he knew certain people, and I can't say how I know I knew he knew that. He kept me really safe, and I'm talking about it, and hopefully it will never lead to my death. If I die, start asking questions, folks. No fucking joke. Anyway. So yeah, he was like, I don't want you to get dead. And for somebody in his position, it was a big freaking deal. He was really good at different covert things, and I always knew when he was lying to me. Always knew. He's like, how the hell do you do that? I'm like, because I can. He goes, nobody else. He goes, I can fool the best of them. I can. Oh, I can't say that word. I was about to say a specific word. Oh, can't say that. And anyway, so just know. I needed to say that. Anyway, I wonder if it was a person, ET, in the audience. Yes, it was. It was. They were not on camera. Chris is the one who had asked about that. They were not on camera. I know that. Para. I'm not reading that one out loud. That's good. Regarding ET being in the hearing, I will say that, but that's the rest of it. Scrolling. Aquatic. Okay, reports them swimming across ocean. Yes, we did that one already. And portals. SB. I don't know what you're talking about, sweetheart. Okay, Sovereign to Obi. What the F is going on with that lift the veil dude? He's lost his mind is warped. Really? You in SB right now. What is SB? Okay. I'm in Oxnard right now. Okay. Doopa. Okay, this is interesting. What is this now? Derek, Tim, Ooh la la, I'm only 8 hours from La Villa, Obi. Derek, Santa Barbara, it's very forgettable. Tim, Derek, you and Desiree should meet for dinner. I'll be there August 11th through 17th. Cool. Oh, my word, guys. Okay, so I think I finally got down to the very bottom. Oh, no, I didn't. Yes, no, I didn't. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, I did. Anyway, what else do you hit me up? Ask me questions because we're what, hour and 20 minutes into this? Any more topics to chew on? Yeah, that's exactly it in a nutshell. Oh my God, don't start with this. Oh, no, 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 because I was leaning forward. All right, hit me up with hit me up with some questions. Questions. Why do the ETs stay hidden? Because we're not quote unquote ready. Bunch of bullshit that is. Um, oh, there we go. Um, okay, Derek and Para, both the same questions. Why do the ETs stay hidden? Why do you think the ETs want to be so hidden from humanity? Because we're always filled with anger. Quite honestly, a lot of the ETs can control their emotions. Many of them don't have emotion. Well, not many. That's I need to clarify that. Yeah, I believe I just said it that way. Okay, so what I've learned is that there are certain races of ETs who no longer have emotions. They literally, quote unquote, told this is a quote from them. They bred out emotions. And you're talking thousands of years. Um, Literally bred out emotions, and some of them are putting emotions back in. That's an interesting subject. Um, Chris, thank you for answering my question. I'm going to listen while I fall asleep. Work tomorrow. Sweet dreams, Nikki and chat. I will rewatch the reset. Oh, the rest. Sorry. Brain. I will watch the rest tomorrow. Good night, hon. Sleep well. Um, Sovereign to Obi, you proposed in Vegas. I saw that. You overlooked Derek, especially with a great question like that. Sleep well, Chris. Oh, geez, Sovereign. Parrot by Chris. Okay, so, um, yeah, they don't want, based on what I've been told directly from a specific race of ET, is that emotions have been literally bred out of a certain race. They're very, very not cynical, legalistic. It's like dealing with an attorney. Um, I'm definitely not reading that one, Sovereign. Oh my God. Hello. Jesus. Oh my God. Anyway, so I know that. I know that the Jesus. I know that the uh, different there's some there's so many okay, here's something. There are so many different programs regarding baby programs. Um, I used to get asked, why are they doing the baby breeding programs or the baby programs? There's many factors involved in that. One race wants to reinstate humans' emotions. And to do that, they have to have human genetics, human gene pool to do it. Um, But then, as I found out with one of my boys, one of my 26, one of my last 26 actually. I've actually gotten to the point where I miss being ET pregnant. I haven't been, and I've been starting to grieve over it, which is bizarre to me. But it's been going on since I've been 13 years old, so I'm 55 now. This is the first year that I can't remember being ET pregnant. I haven't been ET pregnant in a year, so it's broccoli, fully capable. No, Sovereign, you want okay, broccoli and raw garlic and raw ginger. There you go, right there. And kale. Oh, and asparagus. Anyway, don't ask me how I know that. Anyway, um, Para, I watched a couple of Samantha Mowat interviews from your playlist. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. And she brought up something I've wondered about 20 and back thoughts. There have been so many conversations about 20 and back. When I first heard about 20 and back, yes, it most certainly does. Tim. I'm not reading that one out loud. Everybody else, they can go read it in chat. But yeah, the 20 and back, I've heard so much about that. And when I first heard about it, I instinctively knew that I knew that it wasn't fully correct. Ah, damn, my knee, it keeps hitting this. There we go. Which is why the table keeps bouncing. I knew that something about it was not correct, but I knew that the concept of it was. There's some form of it that is correct. Do I know what form of it that is correct? No, not at this time. But I know in my gut, it's a gut intuition. It's a psychic also gut intuition that there's aspects of it that are very real, very correct, very real. But there are aspects of what has been described across the board that are not. Do I know what those things that are not real? No. But I know that there is some form of it that is, which is weird to say, but that's how it is. Oh, didn't know that. Good to know. Okay. B12 time. Chewable B12. Anyway, and it's actually pretty tasty. They make these things pretty tasty now. This is a 1,000 microgram chewable tablet. This one's lemon flavored. And when you chew it up and you swallow it with some iced tea, you get a nice lemony tea. Anyway, yep. There's a number of things that come out on Prime that I'm very thankful to be able to watch. I don't have regular TV anymore. It's just too expensive. But there's a number of things that I do have. A lot of things that I don't have anymore because it's just too expensive. I can't afford it. Unable, no. Certain language things you should not use. One of them is can't. So unable to afford it at this time. So I catch myself in stuff like that all the time. It's part of also changing how you think, changing negative into positive. And it's one of the reasons why I get so upset about fear mongering. But anyway, what else do we want to talk about? What? Kevin in the woods. Knock on the cabin. Anyway. That's good. I'm glad you are a multitasker, Derek. Almost like I was. I used to be able to watch 3 different things, keep up with it, and hell, there were a lot of things that I was able to do back in the day. I used to be able to, the way my brain operated back in the day, I used to be able to do between 5 and 9 things at once in my head while having a conversation with somebody. No joke. Used to drive people nuts. They'd look at me going, "You got a weird look on your face. What are you thinking about?" 6 different projects while you're having a conversation with me. How do you do that? Well, it's just how my brain operates. It's one of the reasons why I was able to know every page in that damn book. It's just how my brain was. Need to cancel all my subscriptions. Why is that? Para, do you have any info on inner Earth or what's going on in Antarctica? No, I don't. I can tell you what I know psychically about that, but that's all I've got. And instinctively, I know when bullshit is bullshit. So when I hear bullshit on stuff like that, my instinct goes, "Wah, no, 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 no." So, oh, because I'm always on the tube. Yeah, kind of the same way. What else? There's something I was going to say to that. I do know that the stuff with Antarctica, there was stuff that I received, and I didn't know if it was about Antarctica because it psychically hit me when something was on. It was a documentary or something about Antarctica, and then it had switched over to um, the other one, opposite pole, and but it was still the show more specifically about Antarctica. And here's what I received. I received that there is like an underwater type of city, um, some type of underwater. I almost want to say like an underwater government type of thing, but there's something under the ice, like very hardcore, big time under the ice that is going to shock a ton of people if it ever comes out. That's what I got psychically. Do I trust that information? Hell yeah. There's very good reason why I trust it. Um, it's a gut instinct. Photographic memory. Yeah, photographic memory is called eidetic memory. I didn't learn that until I was in my 30s. It's like, oh, okay. Well, the only way I can say it is photographic because it's the only way I remember it. But anyway, yeah, it's an eidetic memory. Um, and my friend taught me explicitly how to, I already knew how to lock down my memories, but he taught me very, very unusual, specific methods that were originally taught to him by military and black ops, but then were taught to him. New parts of it were taught to him. How do I say this? Do I say this? Well, okay. The way I'm going to say this is he was taught by individuals who had no government affiliation, who knew their shit. I think that's how I can say that without getting my ass into trouble and without anybody who he talked to. So I don't believe they can figure out who I'm referring to. Anyway, so so I got taught how to lock down my memories in a very, very, very specific way and make it deadly for somebody to try to access them. And he taught me very, very well. And it's worked on a number of occasions, especially when the asshats have tried. Anyway, free. Oh, good to know. Thank you, Derek. I will look into. I forgot about those. I will look into those. Sovereign. Is it the human that can shapeshift into a skinwalker Wendigo, or is it the skin-walking Wendigo that causes the human to shift? Oh, that's a really good question. I'm gonna be estimating on that, taking a guesstimate, and what feels intuitively correct. I may be right, I may be wrong. Okay, so I got to reread this. I understand it, but my brain needs to shift it a specific way for me to be able to say what I want to say. So hang on a second. Is it the human that can shave? Or is it the skin monkey? I believe it's the... How do I say this? How do I say this? How do I put this even into words? What I am literally seeing is a being that takes over a human that does the shape shifting. Does that make sense, Sovereign? Let me know in chat if that makes sense. That's what I'm intuitively feeling. That's what I'm like psychically seeing. Well, not like I am. I'm psychically, that's what I'm psychically seeing. But do I know that for sure? No. But that's what my intuition is. That's what my psychic feeling is on it. ATEC in Florida is an example of undersea joint operation base. Yes. I didn't know the name, but yeah, that actually makes sense to me, Sovereign. Tim, Derek, you... Yeah, okay. Para, any idea how soon that city would be revealed? No. That's an excellent question, Para. To be quite honest, I don't know if it'll... No, I was just about to say I don't know if it's ever going to be revealed. I literally just heard it will be revealed, but not in... Wow. Not in many lifetimes. Wow. Are you talking like 300-400 years? That's what was just said. I don't even want to know how or why that. Okay, wow. Okay. Ooh, Sovereign. That's a touchy subject, honey. Let me think about that while I read the other ones. I'm not sure if I'm going to comment on that or not. But I'm glad you asked me. Really glad you asked me, actually. Tim, Para, now... Yeah, now would be a good time. Everything is melting. Yeah, it is melting, but there's something that I was shown, Tim, from them that somehow stops... It looks like it stops the melting. I don't know if it actually does, but it makes it look like it stops the melting, which leads me to ask, what the F are they doing to make it look and appear like it's not melting? when it actually is. So there's a bunch of questions scientific wise that I would be asking questions on about that. So Sovereign, I see what you're saying. Oh good. Tim, what's up with the face on Mars? That's a building. Sovereign, no worries. It's a great area for me as well. Yeah. Para about 6 weeks ago. The story about aliens running around Vegas was all the rage. Do you have any impressions on that? I know gut intuition told me that major aspects of it were correct. I don't know regarding the ET itself. I have seen the video. I haven't seen it in a while. I don't care to see it again. But there are big aspects of it that were real about the whole story. And I mean the entire thing, not one specific section. But regarding the whole thing, there are certain aspects of it that intuition wise I knew was real. I also knew that there was something really wonky about other aspects of it. So there's my answer to that one. Yeah, I'm still debating on whether I'm going to answer that. Sovereign, he says no. Okay, no worries if you don't want to answer that. I'm debating on whether I want to answer that or even read it out loud. Para 300 to 400 years. I'm gonna have to take more vitamins to see that. That's an awesome comment. That's an awesome comment. Para and yoga, yeah. Sovereign. Wish we had the forbidden tech to laser edit our. Yeah. Yeah. No kidding on that one. Okay, I am going to go back to this. Yeah, we're an hour and 42 in. Okay. Any idea? Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't the one. Sovereign. Not sure if you've talked about this before. Have you had any MIB encounters or noticed any MIB cars or that's not what I thought that said when I first read it. I thought it said something else completely. This I will talk about. Encounters, no. Cars and helicopters, yes. Cars. As recently as last week, I might add. Not this past week, the week before last. Yeah, I've got a lot to say on that, and I can't say it publicly. But in regards to that, there's your answer, dear. That's really not what I thought you had asked me. If we are lucky, maybe this will come visit you during this broadcast. Oh my God, no. That is not something I want to deal with just yet. And I know you're being a smartass. That's okay. Hey guys, I gotta pee. I'll be right back. So sit tight. I'll only be about 2 minutes. I noticed MIB cars just last week are up to a week. Reason why I asked. Yeah. Guilty as charged. Smartass. Yes, I know. All right. I will be right back, guys. Stay with me. At least I'm not screaming. This is a good sign. Hello. Okay, let's see what we got here. You're doing monkey things. Interesting. No. Ouch. 1 second. Ouchie. Okay, no more of that. Headphones. Ouchie. All right, come on. Stick it in. Stick it in, stick it in. That's comical. Left bra, sorry. All right, so what else we got? What other questions do you want to know? Smash the like button. Yeah, no kidding. How many do we got? We got 5 likes, and we've had, 11, 12. We've had 12 people in here tonight. We had 14 yesterday. That was an interesting night. Oh, how interesting. Yeah. Try government cars, blacked out tinted windows, government plates. I like Marquise. Derek asked, "What are your thoughts on Marquise from SOR?" Oh, a second. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Still a woman. Still want to have certain things. Drive me nuts. All right, I give up. Do I? Oh, not yet. All right. Anyway, here we go. Finally. I like Marquise. I get where he's coming from regarding his experience, his personal ET experiences. I get that. I've been there regarding that aspect of it. I get the anger and I get the fear. Preaching to the freaking choir here. I get it. But I disagree with how certain aspects are being done. And that's fine. That's my opinion. But do I like him? Yeah, he's critically minded thinking. Excuse me. And in this field, you have to be. Excuse me. Yes, he is. Tim just said he's passionate. Yes, he most certainly is. Don't remember. He has talked bits and pieces about it. God, that's because I had an allergy food again. F balls. I treated myself to something. She's got to take a Zyrtec. Come on, open. Oh, that's not open. That's not good. Okay, come on. Thank you. New bottle. Okay, so yeah, treated myself to a soup that was mostly carbs tonight, and that's not normal for me, but that was something that I really shouldn't have had. It's very tasty though, I do have to say. Okay, so Zyrtec away. Okay, I'm going to make some comments. I like that Marquise is critically thinking. That's a really, really big deal. A lot of times, now this is not about him, this is about what I've noticed from everybody that does this. A lot of times when people go into a lot of interrupting, it's because and I did read that before you redacted the message. A lot of times when people do that kind of interrupting, they don't usually feel like they've been heard. There's a psychology of that. Look into the psychology of it. Do your own research, do your own reading, find out the psychology of it. A lot of people do not feel heard. There's a lot of, and crosstalk comes from that. Yes, Tim says he is young. Yes, he is young. And I was that way as well until I got into groups where they did not allow crosstalk. Everybody had to have their own. It was a learning experience, and everybody that does it has to learn on their own as to what crosstalk is and what it does to everybody else, and what it potentially creates in other people. So everybody that's still young, though. I mean, Derek. I know Derek says he's 35. But see, if I remember right, I believe Tim is in somewhere around my age bracket. And so 37 and younger is young to my age bracket. I mean, and people that are in their 20s and 30s and 40s and all the way on up to 80s, every age bracket kind of gloms onto me. So I work with a wide range of individuals, wide range of ages. But the folks that are younger, they have to learn how crosstalk affects people. And if they don't, and I'm not saying he doesn't, I'm saying everybody, everybody needs to learn about how it affects how crosstalk affects other people. But usually that kind of crosstalk comes from, in the psychology of it, in the psychology realm of it, it comes from not being heard. Or the sensation, the feeling, the psychology of it comes from not being heard or being belittled or being, I mean, there's a lot of psychology to it. So look into the psychology of it. The guy has a great deal of knowledge and he does his research, and that is a really big freaking deal. A lot of folks aren't doing their research. They aren't looking into stuff, and it makes a major difference. So I don't begrudge him the show or any of that. It is frustrating. What I do get upset with is the fear mongering. That to me is a really big deal. But I get it. I get where that comes from. I understand it. I've been through it, and that's why I'm consistently stating that it's a process. Being an ET abductee is a process, and not everybody experiences the same thing. To say that everybody is experiencing all the constant negative and derogatory and detrimental stuff is That's not okay, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But that's also me coming from having bad experiences, good experiences, and indifferent experiences. But I will say this, and one of the things that I said in chat tonight was the fact that if it had not have been for the ETs, I would be dead 2 years ago. That's a fact. They saved my life because they saw something that was happening with my body and they fixed it. And they fixed it in a major freaking way. That's huge in my book. Now, I know people where they've had an arm removed and then sewn back on, and you'd never know it was removed or sewn back on because the person doesn't have a scar. This is what I know about. They did surgery on my left. They did carpal tunnel surgery on my left hand. If they had not have done that, and the year before, I had human carpal tunnel surgery on my right hand. Now, what sucks, what really pisses me off, now this has nothing to do with anybody's show, this is a side note, what really pisses me off is that I cannot put this carpal tunnel surgery on my left hand. I cannot put this on any of my medical records. That is not okay in my book. I can do this one because this one there's documentation, there's evidence, that there's billing practices, there's all sorts of shit for it. But this one, I have pictures of what my wrists look like. And in 12 hours, less than 12 hours actually, the scar was no longer there. I mean, they did such a phenomenally fantastic job that it literally looks like all the little grooves, almost all the original little grooves are in my wrist. And it's not. I mean, there's literally, I know where the cut marks are. Because I took pictures. I took pictures of the wound. The ETs told me how to treat it, how to take care of it. Yeah. Tim just said, I wish I had ET doctors. I understand that. Para, I haven't read yours yet. Hang on a minute. But you have no idea how much I had. I had to beg and plead for different things. And then they would do it. And then we're talking big, cry. And I mean literally cry. Physically, literally cry. To have certain things taken care of. I did not beg and plead for my wrist. I did not beg and plead for my left ear eustachian tube and my throat and the back of my tongue. I didn't. They did that. And they wanted me alive. That's the only reason why it was done. They wanted me alive. There have been times where they knew, and I strongly believe that it was from them, that the ET spirit guide that I've got, he is the one who insisted that I go to the cellular level. And I think it's because of him that certain aspects of me are in good shape. Other aspects aren't, but there are many aspects that are. And he just made sure that I knew about certain things. Yeah, it's okay. So I'm going to go back in. Para, it's that alien neosporin that they use, heals up real nice. No kidding. They use something on it, and it's like, and I've had numerous surgeries from them. I mean, they've cut open my lower abdominals and put in, I don't know, 26 children. Then that was in the beginning. Then there were times where they didn't have any I can't even go into that. But anyway, yeah, it's they put something on it and you are healed. I mean, like, healed. And let me tell you, it took me almost a year to just get used to it. It took me about 3-4 months to semi adjust to what they did to my throat. And I don't care if people believe me or not. You can ask, I'm not going to say her name. There's somebody very, very well known in this field, has their own show, and she was around at the time, and we were having conversations. She said, "Are you okay?" I don't know who that is, Tim. Um, and I could barely talk, and I said, "The ETs did surgery on me," and she goes, Your voice is not okay." And I said, "I know." I said, "It's because they removed a huge. They literally carved out part of my throat and upper um, section of my throat, and it was because of my CPAP. It has to do with my breathing at night. Um, and it went all the way down to about right here in my down my throat. And then they took out the tube, the station tube, and they put in their whatever their material is that they used for human flesh, but it's an updated version of it. And between what it felt like at the back, and they did something to the back of my tongue. Um, the left side back of my tongue is different. Um, I'm basically, I believe that they shaved off part of my back of my tongue. They took care of, they replaced. So the right half of my throat has my human tissue, and the left half of my throat has their tissue, and my left eustachian tube has their tissue. And it's because I was born with small eustachian tubes, and I don't have proper drainage, and I end up with sinus ear infections all the frickin' time. And ever since they've done that, it's very rare that I've had. I now still have sinus issues, but um, I don't have as many problems as I did with my ears as I did before, um, and my throat. But I'm here to tell you the feeling of the tissue is very different. When I got COVID again this year, it was the second time I got COVID, but when I got COVID again this year, the COVID went after that tissue. It didn't go after the human tissue, it went after their tissue that they used. And I had all sorts of problems. I mean, like, hardcore freaking problems. It was not okay. And like I said, quite honestly, I don't give two shits if you believe that or not. This is my experience. This is what has happened to me. And there were individuals that know me. And I don't talk to this person anymore. I mean, I once in a blue moon, we'll say hi to each other or something, or I'll catch her show because her show's on regularly now again. Um, and she's doing a lot of other things, which I think is awesome. I think it's really cool. Um, but and she's got her own experiences. Um, no, it's not vapors to my right. What you're blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right there, right. That's what you're seeing. It's the I've got the fan at the door, and the fan is hitting the underside of the this wall hanging. Um, okay, so yeah, that's what's hitting it. Your wall is moving in the back left of your screen, like wind is hitting it. Yeah, that's why. It's because the fan is in the doorway, on a table in the doorway, and or TV tray, wooden TV tray, and it's aimed towards me, but it's hitting the back of the screen, so or the back of the, it's hitting that wall. Um, yeah, it's a fan. It's still warm in here. It's not bad, but it's still on the warm side. It says it's 68 and clear right now. At least at the bottom of my computer screen, it says it's 68. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's where I get frustrated with. I was going to say Derek. That's not. This is because your name was there. I meant Marquise. That's where I get frustrated with Marquise because he's got very different experiences. He's going through the process, and it is a process, and it's hard. It's hard to go through that process. I was angry for a really freaking long time. It took a long time to get through that anger. I still go through phases of being angry at being taken, but I'm at a different place now. And it is a process, and some people never get through that process. They stay angry for the rest of their life, and that anger will eat you alive. Um, if you allow it, and you've got to focus really freaking hard. Um, but to project that anger out to everybody, that's the other thing I take issue. That's a hard thing. But it's his, like I said, it's his process. It's what he's doing. It's just the intensity, and I get it. Been there, done that. Go back in and listen to some of my old broadcasts from 2019. I was angry at the ETs. I mean, I was really effing pissed. 2019, part of 2020. I wasn't a happy camper. I, I, I mean, the rest of my life was alright. Yeah, it was alright. But dealing with that, you wake up and have the ETs bringing you back, and you've had surgery, or you're now pregnant, and and the pregnancies I love the pregnancies because the connection, the psychic connection with the babies, oh my god, it's so different than the human babies, so very different. And you have to be careful with what you have to really pay attention to your health when you're pregnant. I mean, human baby or not, you have to be very, very aware of your health. I found out the hard way I couldn't take a specific pain pill because it was killing the baby. And my little one nearly died because of it. And I lost my ever loving mind as a mom. I was like, oh my God, this is a big deal. You can't, to injure, but it was my ET, my hybrid. And I cried. I remember waking up on the table. Okay, I haven't talked about this in a while. And it's okay to talk about it. That's the thing. If you're an abductee and you are a host and you're in the pregnancy baby program, you get attached to those babies. And it's okay. It's okay to talk about it. Know that it's okay. This is why I'm doing this. It's good for me to talk about it, but it's also good for people to know about it. But especially those women who are going through this. You need to know it's okay to talk about this. There are people that understand and who've gone through it, and you need to get the hell out of my house. Saw you out of the corner of my eye. Anyway, but I was in so much pain with my back. It was 2021, and I don't remember what month it was. My back injury, when I broke my tailbone was in August of 2021. And I don't remember if it was October, November, or December, but it was one of those months. And God, you guys. And basically, I broke down and took one of my old 2011, half of one of my 2011 pain pills because I was hurting so bad. I couldn't handle it anymore. I was crying and doubled up in pain, and almost doubled up in pain. Couldn't exactly double up because of my tailbone. And I was screaming just as I was trying to get into bed. I mean, literally screaming. It was bad. It was really bad. And I'd finally get comfortable, and I'd just cry myself to sleep because it was so bad. And no, they weren't. I'll get in more into that para in a minute. And so basically, I woke up on an ET slab, and they were waking me up, and they were. Because I had taken this half of this pain pill, it knocks me out. It literally, I take one of those, and it's like, it kicks in, and it'll kill the pain, but it'll also have a tendency to knock you out unless I take a lot of B12 and a lot of other vitamin supplements. It'll just knock me out and have a lot of iced tea and stuff. And I'd completely forgotten that I was ET pregnant. And my bad. And woke up on this table, and here I am, and they're literally Nikki. They could not wake me up. They couldn't consciously wake me up. They couldn't. I literally had ETs. I had 2 ETs shaking me, my shoulders shaking me, and my head bobbing back and forth on the table. And that's what actually woke me up. Yeah, you didn't know that, Sovereign? Yeah, I'm an ET. Yeah, sweetie, you need to go back into yesterday's program and take a look. This is a big deal. Yeah, so I woke up, and they couldn't wake me up any other normal way. They couldn't even pull my consciousness out via using the little device that they put on my forehead and try to pull me out consciously and wake me up that way. Nothing was working. They literally were screaming. I had both of them, one on each ear, literally not verbally screaming, but screaming in my head, each one of them, and shaking me. And I woke up on the table, and they were like, "What did you take? What did you take?" And screaming at me to wake up. And I put the image in my head because I'm dealing with ETs, and you don't have to say anything. You just show them. And they're like, we can't read the bottle. They couldn't read the bottle and I'm like, and I remember turning the bottle around, and they were like, "What is that word? What is that word?" And I said the word, and they're like, "What does it do?" And I said, "It's a muscle relaxant." And they showed me, telepathically, they showed me an image. Just a second. This needs to be talked about. I've never talked about it to this degree. Telepathically, they showed me what was on their screen because I couldn't keep my eyes open. I could not keep my eyes open. And because I was so out of it. And so telepathically, because I remember they tried to show me on a screen that they had. It was like, it's not glass, but it was clear. But they were trying to show me an image of the baby. And I couldn't keep my eyes open. And so they literally looked at it, both of them literally looked at it and projected this image from this screen into my head. And sorry, it ate the baby's skin away. And they had to go in and repair it. And he was big enough to where they could do that. And I'll never tell what medication it was, but it was killing the baby. To know that I did something that would harm. Anyway, that was not okay. I would rather have gone through the pain than have caused. But they took care of the baby, and the baby was fine. They kept the baby in me longer than normal. And the baby had made a connection with me before that. Hang on, I gotta blow my nose, guys. Hang on. Oh, God. Jeez. Why is there a second? Who the hell put the. Where'd the second roll of toilet paper come from? Seriously, where the hell did the second roll of toilet paper come from? Sorry. Tears. Anyway, yeah, I will never say what pharmaceutical drug it was for a muscle relaxant that I used. Now that's funny. That's funny, Para. My dinner. Part of my dinner. Yeah. I need to take my ginger. I haven't taken my raw ginger yet. What the hell is that box? Anyway, so they found out, so they showed me, and I laid there and I cried. And then they knocked me out. And they knocked me out and they took care of the baby. And I don't know exactly what they did, but they healed the baby. And they had knocked the baby out. I know that. I know that they knocked the baby out. And then, ow, 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 motherfucker. That hurt. My tailbone just reacted. Ow, ow, ow. It's because I was sitting at home. Anyway, so yeah, it was quite the experience. Um, and that's how I knew. I mean, and then the baby, both the baby and I got orders on how to deal with my health for the next 24 hours. Um, oh, thank you guys. I'm just not really reading. Um, oh, okay. Babies already have a different deal. Okay, so Derek says, how come the aliens take all the babies? You would think some slip past the aliens, and then when born, the babies would have different DNA. Okay, here's some answers to that. Um, just a moment. I want to be sure I didn't miss anything else. Um, sorry, I'm tired now. Kind of wipe me out. Um, so basically, what ends up taking place. Well, I'm not responding to that one, Tim. That's a good comment. Oh, yeah, you see my right here. Here's my amethyst. My block of amethyst, which I need to charge back up anyway. Um, okay, so I don't remember which one of you asked me that. I have an answer for you, but I just don't remember which one of you asked me that. I think it was, yeah, it was Derek. I think so. Okay, so Derek, go back into my live broadcasts. There's ones where I talk about being ET pregnant. It will give you an in depth process of how um, my ET babies are dealt with. Um, my pregnancies are dealt with, okay? Because it's too long of a thing to. Oh, I did answer that, Sovereign. I did answer that. Um, parts of it are, and other parts are not. So there's your short answer. Um, but yeah, parts of it are real, and other parts just absolutely are bullshit. Anyway, so Derek, go back in and look. I mean, because I do an entire show on ET babies, and the ones that I mean, I go into quite a lot of detail. Um, so, and they're only they only keep them in the human moms for 3 to 4 months. This little one was kept with me for 4 months, um, and stayed connected. I mean, oh my god, I cried. I cried so hard after I woke up and was literally told how they were going to be dealing with, or how I needed to be dealing with my body. And I remember I had my memories and I remembered them. They allowed me to remember them, and I was thankful for that. Um, it was really hard. Um, yeah, they won't because they're unscheduled. They're literally those. Okay, so Para was saying, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Derek was saying it seems that the ETs might slip up at some point and forget a baby, and the human doctors would deliver. No, if that is if that takes place, that's done deliberately. There are women who that does happen with, but it's not forgotten about. It's done deliberately. There are terms I found out from somebody in MUFON, who's no longer in MUFON. Somebody that was there told me that the human hybrids that are born on Earth, on the planet, by human mothers, human host mothers, they are literally called humbrids, Humbrid, humbrid, because they're a human hybrid, but they're specifically born on Earth. The ones that are born on ship are considered are called actual hybrids, ET human hybrids. Hombre, yeah, it is, but it's not. Yeah, I know. So there's some answers with that. Now I'm going to scroll back up because there were a couple of questions that I did miss, and I want to get to them. Sovereign, wait, what? Did you have an alien-induced pregnancy? Yeah, hi, I've been hybrid host mother since 13 years old. I've been pregnant almost not every year of my life, but many years of my life I've been pregnant. I've got 26 hybrid children. They started me at 13 years old, first pregnancy at 13, and by the time I literally turned 14, I had the first one. And I got to see her. She was a little girl, and I know what I named her. I have my own names for them, but they are given their own names once they are birthed, and it is not calling them being born. The terminologies the ET use is birthed. They are birthed because they are literally birthed out of gestational containers. Okay, so Sovereign is saying, so the kids were removed during an abduction, or were they physically born out of you? No. Okay, so they're implanted. An embryo is implanted. A hybrid embryo is implanted. Your body acts like it's pregnant because it is. And you have the baby gestating in you for 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months. Depending upon the ET race that the embryo has been spliced and diced with. Some, based on how I understand it, some hybrid embryos are longer, but most are within 3 to 4 months. And then they are removed from the body, from the human host body. And then because they've gestated far enough, and I had a Laborian. I had a baby who was hybrid human and Laborian, and they grow very fast. And I felt him hardcore. They get very big within, if they are not removed within 3.5 months, you got some serious problems, buddy. I mean, like serious physical problems. They can claw their way out. I mean, it's frightening. So they are removed, and they are anyway. These babies are removed at 3 to 4 months, and then they're put into a gestational container. Yeah, you're welcome, Sovereign. He says, thanks for breaking that down, Nikki. Yeah, so you're taken on board. I mean, you are literally taken on board, implanted with the embryo, and it gestates in you for 3 to 4 months. Um, you live your life, most likely never knowing you've ever been had that happen because they literally remove that from your memory. They don't remove it. They lock that section off of your memory because they can completely control the human brain. That's no fucking joke. Pardon my language, but that's not a joke. That is very real. They have the ability and capability of doing that, especially when it comes to memory. Lack of better terminology, mind-boggling. Um, yeah, a huge mind control issue, memory control. Yeah, definitely, Sovereign. Um, and so, uh, and your body, your female human body, reacts just as if you're really pregnant. Um, it'll show up on a what is it, the HTC hormone or whatever it is, on a pregnancy stick. Um, I'm surprised that they, to be quite honest, I'm surprised that they haven't figured out a way to make that not show up for the women, but it does. And then the woman will think she's pregnant if she figures it out. The woman will think that she's pregnant because here's the thing, Sovereign, and everybody else in chat. You can be pregnant, never know it. You can have a regular period. Some women go through to where they don't have a period for those 3 to 4 months. Other women will go through a regular hormone period cycle. Can't tell you how frustrating that one is. And angering. That actually pisses me off. But that's beside the point. Anyway, it just depends on the woman's hormones. I mean, it's a really big freaking deal, folks. Um, but if you find that you're pregnant and you're an ET abductee, I would be questioning how long you're going to be pregnant for if you're in one of those programs. Are they going to allow you to have the pregnancy through to its term of 9 months? Or is it going to be a 7 month period? Or are you looking at 3 to 4 months and then what happens to the pregnancy and you haven't had anything happen in the toilet? You haven't had, um, a formed embryo. You haven't had it. You haven't had a miscarriage in the toilet. Let's put it that way. I don't know how else to say it without being too overly graphic. Now, I've been there, I've done that. My body has rejected 2 hybrids that I'm aware of. No, tap. Oh, I made a liar out of myself, 3. Um, and actually, one happened. Actually, one happened in 2021 before they tried this baby at the end of the year in 2021. It's driving me nuts. I must have it. Yep, got it. Eyelashes driving me bad. Yep, eyelash. Anyway, so yeah, and that has to be hard to see. Um, so, and I gather you guys are talking about somebody specific, and I think I can guess at who you're talking about, but I'm not going to comment on that one. So basically, um, it's an emotional roller coaster. It can be at times. I mean, there were so many, it makes so much, there's so many times where I actually thought I was pregnant, not wishing, not wanting to be, after I had my first human child. my son, my 31-year-old son. There were numerous times where I literally thought I was pregnant, and I'd second guess myself, and I'd do all the logic things, and I'd do all the. Um, it just really was a mind bender. Um, and just before I'd think, oh, I should probably go get a pregnancy stick. Um, ouch. Uh, I would feel like I wasn't pregnant, and it's usually around 3 months. And I didn't understand that back then. I get it now. I fully fucking get it now. Pardon my language. Um, oh, well, neither did I, but that's good to know. Thank you for saying that. Anyway, uh, it's a showdown between people, and that's all I'm going to say. But anyway, so um, it was a hell of a realization. I mean, it made everything made sense. The nosebleeds that I would have as a kid, the memory of this situation. I never understood that. I never understood um, the incident at Sarita's house or apartment, not house, where I was running for my life as a child. I was um, 8 years old at the time, and I had been dropped off. Um, I'd been dropped off at her apartment, but they had dropped me off 2 blocks or a block and a half. No, block and a half. Um, Technically, as I see it as a child, it was 2 blocks. But when I look back at the um, the the Google Maps, I'm like, that's technically a block and a half, but it's across a major thoroughfare arterial for a child to cross. Um, but and it was also in the middle of the night, which meant there were no cars around. The gas station that's there now was not there back then. There were a lot of things that were not there back then that are now, and I always thought of it as a dream, and it was never it was never a dream. It was running for my life. That's how I remember it, and I remember. Oh, this is something I've never talked about. I do have it in a painting. There's a and I knew how to get into this building. I shouldn't have known that. Should not have known how to get into this building from being outside. I'd only been in that building once at that point in my life, and it wasn't okay. So yeah, I mean it. You have a number of factors that just don't jive with you as a child, and then as a teenager you don't understand certain things because hello, you were a virgin and this was the early 80s, and certain things were, I mean, I was aware, but not like that, not like kids are now. And um, you know at 13 and 14 I was still very much a virgin, and so yeah, I mean it's a big freaking deal, and everything just jived. I was like, oh, and so when I woke up, literally with my toes over the edge of this ET's shoulder, I mean, it was like it triggered a massive amount of my memories, and I was like, oh my oh my god, this is it was a hell of an eye opener, really, really was. Okay. Hera, aside from the physical havoc it might play with a woman, I have to believe it also caused some havoc in your relationship with your. Yeah, not until 2018, 2017, 2018. Of course, that was already going on since 2006, so 2006, 2007. So there's a lot of havoc going on, a lot. So things were rough, really rough. So yeah, that's kind of that. Yeah, I'm not reading that stuff. Sorry, trying to rub a bruise. I've got a very lengthy bruise on my leg from climbing in and out of a. Well, I'm not going to say what it was, but it got a bruise that long on my leg. It's about that wide. So, and what I found out a number of years ago, many years ago actually, is if you rub, I had a doctor tell me, I had a cardiologist internist doctor tell me this, that if you rub a bruise, no matter how painful, but as long as you keep rubbing it very gently, you bring better circulation back into that skin and where that's at, and it decreases the bruise faster. Well, that's what I was told then. It was a long time ago, early to mid 2000s, and it's true. To me, I found it's true personally. Um, so that's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, Paramar, thank you for fearlessly being yourself. Right on. You gotta be yourself, guys. You gotta. I mean, you just don't hide. Don't put on a fake face, fake mask. I used to call it a fake face mask. Um, I knew the religion thing well, and I knew different aspects of life, and I used to hide myself, the real me, the real. I mean, there were things I didn't really openly, unless you were super freaking close to me. I mean, you had to be really freaking close to me for me to tell you about um, my memories, especially my grandmother's, my blind grandmother, who I walked up to and said, "Who's that man out there?" And out her third story, second story? No, third story apartment, brick apartment building on Capitol Hill in Seattle, Washington. And there was no way that a man could be standing out that window. And by the time I got up to the window, he was floating. And she told me, she asked me what he looked like, and I never told her he was wearing a baseball cap. She told me. She told me what it looked like. And she's blind. So that's a story that very, very few individuals, not even my own family, ever got to hear that story. Yeah, so that'll make an impact on you. That was the day that she told me, don't ever talk about, she goes, Nicole, don't ever talk about this. People will think you're crazy. And that's the worst thing. And see, she never showed me that she was psychic. Okay, so Paramar just said, whoa, how did she know that? Was she psychic too? My grandmother never once showed me that she was psychic. Never once. Not ever. Until that moment in time. She literally, because of her diabetes, she lost all of her sight. She didn't have cloudiness. She didn't have any ability. I mean, it went almost black for her. It was like everything was dark gray. She could not see any images whatsoever. Nothing. And God, I remember her crying over that, and I don't blame her. I mean, she had a really rough time of it with that. Anybody would. I mean, God. especially back then. This is the 70s. And so you have that incident, and yeah, she didn't want me to. Paris says she didn't want you to be thought of as crazy. No, she didn't, because she knew what it would do. And so it was because of that incident, and then an incident where she was at living with my mom and I after living at that apartment, where she was, and the family thought my grandmother was going nuts. She wasn't. Um, where my grandmother was living, God damn, I feel like I got a hair on my nose again, pardon me. Um, where my grandmother was living with my mom and I in a house. And the house was haunted. There was a woman who would come to my bedside. There was a ghost who had died in a horrible car accident. She was a newlywed. And the car she was driving was hit head on, and she didn't exactly make it. Let's put it that way. And back then they didn't wear seatbelts. And she died instantly. Well, she stayed at the house. And when I was a little kid and going through my ET abductions that she knew about, she would come and sing me to sleep because I was afraid to go to sleep. I was terrified. There were times I was terrified to go to sleep. And I would climb into bed, and Mom would tuck me in, and she'd read, and she'd shut the light off. She'd go to sleep. And she'd go into her room and go to sleep. And I couldn't sleep. I'd rock back and forth in bed, or I'd toss and turn. And I never remember the lady's name. I've never, to this day, not remembered her name. I just don't remember her name. And she used to come to me every night, short amount of time after Mom would put me to sleep, put me to bed, and she'd sit there and sing. She'd sing me to sleep. Some of my happiest memories. When the ETs used that memory as a cover memory. That's always fun. Anyway, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Love you too. Love all you guys and gals that have been in. Thank you very much. Very, very much appreciate that. Para says, that's beautiful. And I'm like, yeah, it really was. Screen memory is part of their mind control. Yes, it was very much part of their mind control. It was an easy out for them because this woman would come and she would sit with me on the edge of my bed, and that's the memory that they frickin' chose, and it kind of ruined the memory for me after I made that realization. And then I went, no, because she really did come to me before they started doing the screen memories. And they only did the screen memories, Sovereign, because I had an episode where I was screaming bloody frickin' murder. I begged an ET that had brought me back home and to show me what she looked like. And she uncloaked herself and she showed me what she looked like, and I lost my frickin' mind. And I started screaming and screaming and screaming. And I was I was in bed, but sitting in my bed. And she had walked me back in, and we were standing there talking, and she was at the foot of my bed, and she stayed where she was, and she told me to get in bed, and I got in bed, and I've never talked about that. I've never talked about this part. But she told me to get in bed. She brought me back. It was bright, white, brilliant white light in the room. I mean, it lit up. My room looked brighter than daylight, and my bedroom. And God, I can see it too. It's like it's going on right now. I can see it. It's like So my bed's here, the window's here, there's a window here, there's a closet here, the door entrance into my bedroom is here, my bed is right here. She's standing here. I remember standing right in front of her, maybe that far away, and I'm looking up at her because she's so freaking tall. I mean, just really freaking tall. And even though I couldn't see her, I could feel her. And I remember putting my arm out at some point and there was nothing there, but yet I'm looking up. I'm literally got like a foot back and I'm looking up and I'm like, wow. And yet there's nothing there. I mean, visually, I couldn't see anything, but yet my whole room was just lit with this entire brilliant, blinding white light. No feeling to it, and silence everywhere. That's the thing, because you should have been able to hear the crickets outside through my windows. You should have been able to hear one of the dogs barking in the neighborhood, because they typically bark. Unbelievably silent. And I remember this was before Mom and I put curtains on the windows. So I shouldn't have been able to see out. It should have been dark. We didn't have curtains on the windows then. It's before she had done my room. I hadn't thought about that until just now. She stood there. She told me to get in bed. And I got into bed and we're talking. And she hasn't moved. Her sound of her voice hasn't moved. She hasn't gone anywhere. And she's talking to me reasonably, respectfully, which I thought was interesting. I look back at that now. Goddamn temple. I look back at that now and I'm like, wait a minute. She was talking to me rather respectfully, almost like an adult would talk to another adult. I mean, it was, and we were not talking verbally. Everything was head to head, mind to mind. And telepathic, mind speak, whatever you want to call it. She was talking to me, and then something hit me, and I was like, I want to see you. That's when it all started. And I begged. I did the whole little kid scenario. Begged and pleaded and come on, and she and I don't know how long it was, but she finally relented. She finally relented and she showed me herself, and that's what I just and screamed. And the weird thing is, to me, the weird thing is that I knew what she looked like. I somehow knew what she looked like when she was on board. I know that, how do I say this? I know she was the one that always brought me back. I remember that. But what I also remember is that I knew who she was on board, but yet at the same time, I didn't. I was like, there's blocking mechanisms there. There are sections that I still don't quite understand as a little kid, because on one hand, I know that I'd seen her. On another hand, I knew her. But yet, you're dealing with, I'm in my own home. It's very real when you're in your own home. Whereas if you're on an ET ship, it's like it's not real. There's a, it's almost like it's a dream, but it's not a dream. Okay, Para is saying, okay, but when you were on board the ship, weren't you under their influence? So it makes sense that you'd freak when she's in your space. Yeah, but see, I didn't think of it that way. Yes, you're saying what I just said, so never mind. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, but I see. I didn't think of it that way. It was like on one hand, it was real. I knew it was real. I knew logically it was real. But on another hand, hey, Derek. But on another hand, I knew that it wasn't. Um, if that makes sense, and I don't understand that logically, that makes no sense to me. How is this real and yet it's not? And then when I get home and I'm in my own bedroom and she's not there and nothing's there and I'm telling her to basically uncloak. But that's not what I just kept begging and begging and pleading. And then after that, with the screen memories, that's when the screen memory started. So yeah, it just made it very. Yeah, I don't though. And Paris said you were also 7 or 8 years old at the time, so you might cut your 7-year-old self a little slack. I have a hard time doing that. I get that. Trust me, I freaking get that. But I have a hard time doing that. And that's part of my thing of my own healing. I haven't learned or allowed yet. There's a lot of things that I do that with. But this is one of those that I haven't yet. Derek, dear, get your ass into a doctor. And that's called weeping. My mother's legs did that. Get your ass in to see a doctor immediately. There's something wrong. That's coming from me, not the psychic in me. That's from personal experience, what I've seen with my mother, what I've seen with myself. Get your ass in to see a doctor, no matter how you feel about them. I want to see you alive and well and healthy. Not a freaking joke. Get your ass in to see a doctor. And preferably a walk-in clinic. Some serious shit, dude. That's the kind of stuff where I will stay on the phone with somebody. Yeah, in other words, it's splitting. Your skin is splitting. Yeah, urgent care. Urgent care or ER. No, it's the skin that can't handle the situation. Derek, are you the one that's in Florida? Dude, seriously, get into an ER. Get into an ER. This is a big deal. You need to be seen. If you don't go to an ER, go into a walk-in clinic. Urgent care clinic. You got to be seen, dude. Seriously. Um, okay, this is Mama Bear going, get your ass into the doctor. Para, you don't want me being Mama Bear on your ass. Trust me on this. Protection, yes. But when I get it deals with medical, seriously, get in to see a doctor. I don't even know where to go with this now because that just totally, I'm like, holy crap. And we're at 3 hours. I really didn't want to go 3 hours, but okay. Dude. Yeah, no shit. Amy says the disclaimer holds that this program is not meant to dispense medical advice or any claim to prevent, treat, or cure any disease. Yeah, no kidding. That's for sure. Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up. But Derek, I want to hear from you. You gotta tell me what's going on with you, dude. I want to know that you're gonna be okay. Um, you are stubborn, Derek. Yeah, says Sovereign. Nope. Dude, don't let it kill you. Get your butt in. Okay, here's my email. No, I was not. I know somebody that has contacts. Hang on a second. Let me double check because I had checked before I had started this and um okay, so you haven't emailed me. Um ouch. Yeah, the bright light. bright light. I promise you guys, hospital in this area are home. Well, you need to see somebody. This is not a joke. Um, get your butt in and get seen because that kind of stuff is serious. Okay? Now, I'm no doctor, but I know what I've experienced personally and I know what I've gone through with my mom. So, and you were younger than all of us at the time. So, still, um, yeah, I can't say that publicly, but yes, I agree with Para. Um, but get in. You need to be seen. It's not a freaking joke, dude. Um, well, that's good to know, but you're not there. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. I know. Yeah, there are a lot of places I wish I was, but I'm not right now. So, You got to do what's in your best interest. Good. Go there. No, none whatsoever. I agree, Para. Derek, go to that specific spot where you just mentioned in that clinic. Go, go, go. Oh, well, we dropped a couple of degrees. It's down to 65. Good. Cooling off a little bit more. I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. Yeah, I'm not a doctor. But you got to be seen, dude. Yeah. Tim, are you still here? See if you can get him to go. So who else is listening? Yeah, mine? Yeah, they're a lot better. Um, my mom ended up, I'm good. Thank you, Amy. Um, Amy says, I'm still here. Good. Thank you. Thank you. And I very much appreciate you making that statement that you did that I read. So thank you, my dear. Thank you. Yeah, my mom ended up, my mom's was because of her heart. Um, and hers was eventually listed as lymphedema, edema, which turned to lymphedema. And yeah, it's kind of a 5 in chat, 4 lurkers. Yeah. Um, yeah, it is. I agree with that, Amy. Extremely. Um, yeah, I'm not saying that last word, but yeah, I tend to agree with that section. Sovereign. So basically, anyway, um, mom ended up finding out that it. Well, I ended up finding out. My mom didn't comprehend it. Um, hers was with her heart and her kidneys, and then and not her liver. It was her heart and her kidneys. Um, so that all got taken care of and worked out. Medication and legs elevated above her kidneys, and she peed a lot of it out. And um, then it took a couple of weeks for the skin on the legs to get better for her. And the doctors were very, very specific, because what happens with legs like that, according to what I was told by the doctors and with her experience and also with my experience, when my legs did that, because my legs did do that, the skin gets really thin and then it splits, because it cannot handle the swelling anymore. There's a whole lot of stuff to it. So, yeah. And the doctors, all the different doctors we had, we were in and out of hospitals with my mom. And all the different doctors I worked with, and I worked with a lot of different doctors. Um, I think like 9 or 10 doctors, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to go back in and look at my notes, and I'm not going to do that anytime soon. But yeah, it was somewhere around 9 or 10 doctors that I ended up dealing with all the different times Mom was in and out of hospitals with this issue along with other issues. And every one of them talked about all but one. I take it back. All but one talked about not using specific ointments and stuff like that for the skin barrier, because the skin barrier, when the legs like that get when the skin on the legs like that gets that bad, it gets extremely dangerous, and the skin can't handle. It was really interesting medical information they talked about. But yeah, do your own research, talk to these doctors, get in, um, do your own, talk to them. You've got to get seen. This is that. If you haven't been seen yet, that's the big deal. Okay, I'm missing a lot of stuff. Yep, Para. Yeah, where Para says I've had that experience too. Um, Sovereign. 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 I didn't expect that. That's a totally different kind of swelling altogether, dude. Oh my god. Oh, yes, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. You smartass. I'm not responding to the for entertainment and educational purposes only with the laughter. I'm responding to something he just said. That's good. Yeah, that's what I used for a long time. Diabetic socks for quite a while. Keep my legs swelling. And then I used ace bandages because my legs had gotten so swollen that they couldn't handle being in the socks. So we ended up using wraps. That was fun. I have pictures on Facebook of having my legs wrapped. That was joyous. Not. Um, my legs are much better now that I lost a bunch of weight. Yeah, mine are better not because of the weight loss, but because of the other stuff. You're 6'6", dude? Holy Moses. My son is 6'2". He's built like a linebacker. I can't even. Wow, honey. That's a lot of height. Yeah, I agree, Paramarv. That's a good start, Derek. If you're consistent, however, if the issue is persisting, it's time to review with a medical professional. Yeah, he's right about that. I am in agreement. Uh, I am too. I'm not lanky. Oh, you mean you are too? Meaning built like a linebacker? Yeah. No, don't do that. Yeah, I'm 5'3". I'm a shorty, so I know what that's like. That's not fun. Being 5'3" is not fun. 5'3" with gigantic tits. That's not fun either. I'm tired. For me to make that statement publicly is a big deal. Well, somebody laughed at it. Anyway. Oh, Christopher. Holy shit. Sorry. Just checking something. Good God, they grow them big in your neck of the woods. Oh my God. Oh my God. My brother is 6'7". You're 6'6". You're 6'7". Do you have a sister? Oh my God. Mom and her sisters are 5 foot. Okay, so how tall is your dad? My sister is 5'6". See, and I don't know why I knew, but I just knew that you had a sister. 5'6". Okay, and what about your dad? Do you have tall uncles or tall great uncles? My dad is 6'1". There you go. You're built like a linebacker. You're 6'6". So you're big boned. Yes? Or are you a skinny mini but built like a linebacker? I do know people like that. Mm. No, don't tease him about that. Did you drink much milk when you were a kid? Honey, in my family, we've got, okay, speaking of tits, readjust. Um, yeah, but that's not going to create the height. And Derek, I didn't realize you were military. Thank you for service. Seriously, dude. I had friends coming back from there. Or were you a contractor? Got it. Yeah, but they need to look at your. And if you are. What? Get in. Get seen. Understood. Which also means you. How long? How long? How long? How long? How long? How long? Ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. Were you. eh, Yeah, I knew what that meant. So, Derek, how old are you? No, you're 37. That's right. Never mind. No. When you get height like that, you get usually dense bones, Severn. See, this is what I found out from my bariatric clinic. I have dense bones, very dense bones. The men in my family, on my side of on my grandmother's side of the family, my mom's side, they have dense, or from what I've been told over the years, although I wasn't told this before any of my family, because all my family's gone. I mean, my great aunts and uncles, they're all dead, every one of them. And large boned. My dad was large boned too. He was 6'2", 6'1". And my great uncles, they were 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1". And excuse me, they had big boned guys. Yes, I do know that. Yeah. I have things that I want to ask you, but I don't dare. Especially publicly. I gotta be careful. See, things in my brain just got real freaking serious real fast. Yes, I know. The second I knew you had a sister, I knew. I didn't even need to be told about the seer. Well, it's not. If I remember right, it's not pronounced that way. Sorry, I gotta move things around. My back is starting to really bug the whole living crap out of me, and then I'm gonna need to go here in a few minutes. I don't know, maybe another 20 minutes if that, and then we've got to be done. Derek, you've got to email me and let me know how you're doing. Seriously, dude. Let it wrap up. Go eat, dude. Get your ass. Go eat. Yes, I do know that. My friend who had clearance used to. There were things that he would say that were rather interesting. Certain things were like, don't believe everything the media is reporting. In Sear? I gotta scroll back up. Something just. I had friends coming back from Afghanistan. I knew them after they came back. And some of the stories were really not okay. lost contact with a couple of them, and the others are dead. There was a female that was a wonderful woman. Just loved her to pieces. She was in Washington State. And she talked about certain things. It's rather interesting. Hello to the 10th person who came in. We're wrapping it up, so to speak, and then actually, I don't even know if we're going to do another 20 minutes or so. Probably another 4 or 5 at the most, I think. Because a lot of things have been talked about. Interesting. Some of this I'm not commenting on for very good reason. I haven't looked at my... Hang on a minute. I'm double checking something. One moment, guys. Yeah, it's time to go. So, Parrot, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Thank you. On that note, guys, I hope you enjoyed the talk. I hope you have a good evening, a safe evening. Stay well and healthy, and take very good care of yourself. It's good seeing everybody in here. Just Amy and Para and Derek and Sovereign and Obi and whoever else is listening. I thank you so very much. Yeah, you're very welcome, Para. And Tim and Deb and everyone else that's been in here. I'm going up and through the chat, making sure. Very much appreciate everybody coming in, and I'm glad to be able to do this for folks. So, yeah, I think maybe 2 hours is probably going to be our max. So, yes. Till next time. I'm not repeating that. Suffer. Till next time, everybody. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.